All right, hello and welcome to episode number 19 of the All Things Sports Podcast. My name is Zach Bischoff, and I'm joined by
Danny Shanhorn, sir.
Perfect. All right, today, perfect. I don't know why I said it that way. All right, today, let me get our lovely names up here, although you should know us by now. Okay. Show display names. Perfect. There we go. All right. First, to lead off the show, we would like you to follow our new Twitter page. The Twitter handle should be displayed right down, right down there. You're not even remotely close to it. It's on the other side of the screen. Anyway, please follow us there at ATSPod_official. That will be our official communicate. That will be our only means of communications because I thought I had a community page on YouTube, but I don't. So that will be the official means of communications for the show. Don't know why I just decided to make that at 10:30 some last night, but we have it now. So, and that account will be run by both Danny and myself. All right, today, question: which favorite sports moment of the week? And today we have a interesting show for you. Now we would like to mention. Actually, we'll mention that later in the show when we get to it. So today we're going to be doing the first. So we will be recapping the Women's Euro tournament that concluded, I believe it was yesterday or the day before that. We will then cover the not NHL. We will cover the NFL, Steelers training camp, and other trending topics. There, we will address the elephant in the room later in the show. So to lead off, Women's Euro recap here. So, Danny, would you like to recap the Women's Euro final here?
Sure, Zach, and it's great to be with you as always, man.
As always.
Yeah. What do you say?
I said, as always.
Yes, sir. No, great tournament and a great final. England, for the first time since 1966, has won a major international soccer competition on both the men's and women's side. So they beat Germany this past Sunday, I believe, 2-1. I mean, England just with just really impressed me throughout the whole Euro tournament. I mean, I know we got a community up in Norway, but they kind of did dominate. Norway there. So
They did.
no, and but
I was rooting for Norway.
I
was thinking of that
because yeah, me too, man. But yeah, I mean, great tournament for England throughout. I thought, just to recap the final game a little bit here, I thought, for obviously a big storyline coming in was I Alexandra Pop for the Germans. They're like star-studded striker. I think she had 6 goals in the tournament. She's a tremendous player. She got injured during warm-up, so that was a really tough pill for Germany to swallow. And I was impressed by the way they were able to kind of even just be able to kind of be able to keep pretty calm and everything like that with your star going out like that. So credit to Germany for getting this far. I mean, England scored first, and then Germany was able to respond and take it to extra time. So that takes a ton of skill. I mean, in terms of players, I really thought Bronze was really good for England, but the one player that really impressed me was the holding midfielder for Germany. She's I believe, like, her name's like Oberdorf or something. I'm probably pronouncing that incorrect. She's only 20 years old. 20 years old.
Yep.
And she was bossing the midfield. So that was really cool to see. But yeah, and then the story obviously is the substitute coming in and scoring a goal. I mean, that was your first international goal, Zach. How crazy is that?
Yeah, and as I put myself back on the screen, there we go. All right. Yeah, it was interesting. I think there was was she a teenager when is there a teenager that scored that goal? I think it
I
was.
think she's got to be young. I mean, I don't know. There was a teenager in the front three. I don't know if she was the
Yeah,
one.
there was a couple teenagers that I think played in this tournament. But yeah, it was interesting. I always like watching that. I always like watching any international soccer, be it American soccer, World Cup or not. But I always like watching international soccer and women's soccer because that grows the game and spreads inclusion, which we here at All Things Sports stand for. All right, now we will talk about the NFL. We will first go into Steelers training camp. Danny, I believe was in pads, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct, I believe so.
Yes, please update the people on. Let's do the Deontay Johnson situation.
Oh boy, I was looking forward to this.
Hot take.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I was looking forward to it when we were doing the plan. I was like, ZB, we better talk about the Deontay Johnson situation.
Yes, also we do apologize for for starting late. I realized I didn't. I needed more time to prepare. It was been a crazy day today, but that's just not. Well, I choose when I start this show, but anyway, please proceed.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Anyway, I mean, obviously, I'm just glad that we're able to, and any hour of the day that I will talk sports. So I'm glad that we were able to get everything on and out like that. So
Correct.
yeah. Sorry. No, but that was a long topic. But
I'm not that funny.
No, by me, yeah, by me. I should have just kind of kept going. But anyway, yeah, Deontay Johnson situation. Obviously he is not doing team drills. I believe he's still doing individual drills. I mean, light individual drills.
Yeah, I think he's just off to the side.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he wants a contract extension. And like I am just curious to see how far he's willing to go because he's obviously seen TJ Watt did that last year, I believe, and he got paid. But TJ Watt is TJ Watt, so I think I think that the overall receiver market, like the way that it's been trending, I have DK Metcalf, I believe, got a 3-year, $72 million extension, and then Deebo Samuel got a 3-year, $71.55 million extension with $58.1 million guaranteed. So I think that plays into Johnson's hands a little bit. I'm just curious to see, Zach, how long is he willing to sit out?
Hold out, yeah.
Like, because you can't you gotta get ready for the games at some point. You got to get ready for week 1 in Cincinnati at some point. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that and I really don't think he's probably taking it day by day and obviously talking with the agent. I really don't think that an extension right now is in the cards for Deontay Johnson. You know what I mean, Zach?
Right.
Because
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Okay. Yeah, it'll just be interesting to see, like Danny said, how he decides to hold out. And I mean, like I said, you do have to prepare. And I know I'm kind of repeating what Danny just said, but I'm kind of sidetracked, preparing for later segments of the podcast. So I was not fully listening.
Yeah, sorry for throwing you there. I didn't mean to force your input on that one, but yeah. So that Deontay Johnson situation will be very interesting to watch. Like I said, I don't think an extension is in the cards for Deontay Johnson. I think 20 million is what he wants. He wants 20 million, and I think that is the maximum as to what the Steelers can do. But I just don't see it happening right now. I obviously don't know the contract ins and outs of everything, but that'll be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, in other news, full pads, Zach.
Yes.
I saw on Twitter, Mason Rudolph is third string now.
Wait, boy. Wait a minute. This is new to me. What happened?
No, Andrew Filipponi tweeted like an hour ago. I just saw that
Oh, yes.
on.
Tony is a local sports personality for anybody that is not familiar with the Pittsburgh radio sphere. All right.
I found that interesting. I mean, Kenny Pickett. I thought Mason Rudolph, stats wise, had the best couple days. Of all the four quarterbacks, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
Oladokun didn't get a rep, but yeah, I really think that I think that Kenny Pickett definitely needs second team reps because I really think that that's kind of how you understand what you kind of have, I guess. And then I guess we can kind of transition. I guess special teams. There's kind of news regarding Crystal Boswell. We can talk about that after the defense if we wanted to touch on that. The defense, and I'm curious that I really hear your thoughts, GB. I really think that this year with the way TJ Watt and Mika Fitzpatrick and the coaching staff we got Brian Flores, an NFL caliber head coach, leading the defense. I mean that defense room is going to be stacked. So I really think I'm expecting big things for the defense for sure.
Yeah. So to prepare for the next segment, we are going to take a brief intermission here as we get our thoughts about us. Now, we do want to say, proceeding into this segment, we number one are going to discuss the Deshaun Watson situation and the ruling that was handed down today. First off, we here at All Things Sports, for the record, do not endorse or condone any of the events. And also, there will not be explicit content, but viewer and or listener discretion is advised from here on out. We will be right back right here on. I'm not ready yet. There we go. We will be right back right here on the All Things Sports Podcast. All right. Welcome back to episode number 19 of the All Things Sports Podcast. All right. Now, today, as I mentioned, from this point on, viewer and or listener discretion advised. I do not plan to have any explicit content in this segment, but I feel like I need to give that disclaimer anyway. All right. As I'm sure you all have heard by now, Deshaun Watson has been suspended for six games. That decision was handed down earlier today by former federal judge Sue Robinson, and I will summarize her findings here in the report. I'm not going to all the findings, but it just says Mr. Watson is hereby suspended for 6 regular season games without pay. Although this is the most significant punishment ever imposed on an NFL player for allegations of nonviolent sexual conduct, Mr. Watson's pattern of conduct is more egregious than any before reviewed by the NFL. Now, this is interesting to me because I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this, and Danny, I'm not going to make you speak to this if you do not want to, but it is interesting to me that this is now before a judge. What are your thoughts on that? That it was Roger Goodell, and now the NFL and the NFLPA have hired a former federal judge to decide their suspensions.
I mean, again, like you said, it's a tough. I mean, I think that what they want to do is kind of make everything kind of seem impartial in a sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's really kind of why I think they went away from Goodell. Although if they appeal it, I think Goodell makes it.
If they appeal it, it's heard by Goodell or someone he designates.
I believe that's the case.
And it's interesting because I see this as impartiality, but I see it this. I think this is an optics thing, partially because the NFL, now that they're handing it off to a federal judge, former federal judge, although they're appointed by the NFL can now say, wasn't us. We didn't decide that. That's what the judge said. I think that is why they appointed Her Honor to hear this case, and I believe this did go to trial. I believe this was like a 3-day hearing, and it's also interesting to me. I saw a list today of suspensions that were. I do not think 6 games was enough for allegations, even though Mr. Watson, he did settle most of his claims, but I still don't think it is enough, and we will try and keep this topic short, but I don't think it's going to be that way. It's interesting to me that there's a laundry list of players that have been suspended for this type of activity for the same amount of time, like Ben Roethlisberger. I believe there was one civil case against him, and he was initially suspended for 6 games. And it's just interesting that you have guys like, let's see, Josh Gordon, I think, gets suspended like 20-some games for being in possession of, I believe, medical marijuana. So that's interesting. And you have is it Calvin Ridley that's suspended the whole year for betting?
Yeah, he bet. He bet on his team to win. So
yeah, it's interesting to me just seeing that you have players that are committing these not really non-violent offenses and are getting harsher punishment than, let's say, those that do commit sexual misconduct and those type of crimes. It's not right, and I feel like the NFL, the fact that I saw today that the NFL might appeal this, that's certainly interesting that the NFL would appeal this, and also no fine. The NFL, at least to my knowledge, was pushing for 1, an indefinite suspension, and 2, a fine in the $8 to $10 million range. It's very interesting. It's that it's only 6 games, so you gotta wonder. We'll leave it at that. All right, Danny, any final words for the people?
Let's see here. Not really, although I actually do want to extend my sorrow, at least for the loss of Bill Russell, who passed
Oh
away
yes, yes.
yesterday at I think 88. So I mean, I think I mean, he was a great player for the Boston Celtics. I mean, he led them to 11 championships in his 13 seasons. But I mean, really, I mean, he was a great basketball player, right? And he's got to be considered one of the best of all time. But really, I mean, the work of his the work he did in terms of civil rights, I mean, that's really kind of, he was just such a good person in terms of just the person he was. I mean, he was able to impact a lot of communities, and not just a basketball in a basketball sense here. So obviously, I was reading an article, and it said the Boston sports Mount Rushmore is like is Brady, Bobby Orr, David Ortiz, maybe. Who else would be on that list? Basically, the point of the article was Bill Russell kind of stands alone in that regard. So again, I just want to extend my sorrow for the loss of Bill Russell, and just honor him in that way. So,
Hey, thank you, Daniel. All right, that will do it for today's episode. I'm getting an echo on your side, Daniel, so I'm going to mute you for the moment. Anyway, we will be right, or not. We will not be right back. That'll do it for today's episode of the All Things Sports Podcast. We thank you all for listening, and we remind you to follow us on Twitter, which will be right there. Please follow us there. That is our main and only way of communicating with the community. So we hope to get all of our 200 and some listeners at last check following us on Twitter. And hey, maybe if we get enough, maybe we can get verified. Anyway, we'll talk to you all later right here on the All Things. Oh, how about it? Next episode will be episode 20. Can you believe that we're already at 20 episodes? Oh wait, nope, you're muted. Go ahead.
I cannot believe that, and it just, I mean, I really feel like we've grown so much from our first episode, and it's just been awesome to be on this journey here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even the quality of these broadcasts, because I was listening back to episode 1 today, and it's like my audio quality sucks. And at that point we were both in a Zoom meeting, recording the Zoom meeting, right?
Right.
And now we're using other tools like. Again, not sponsored. We're using Powered by StreamYard, but that is not, again, we are not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form. Lord will be accepting any sponsorships, as I've said before. All right. Anyway, that will do it for today's episode of the All Things Sports Podcast. We will talk to you all later right here on, as I get that out of there and take our names off. All right, we'll see you next time right here on the All Things Sports Podcast. Thank you.